it doesn't require a lawyer, but I think, look, you're talking about exposure of, what's now 11 years left on a lease, right? And if you add those numbers up, it usually pays to get a lawyer to negotiate the surrender for you. But if you make a mistake and you leave the window open, he'll come, you know? That's what they do. They're landlords. People may take it more seriously, if a lawyer steps in too, right? Because right now he's saying, "Oh, bring a blank check to my office." Like, okay. I mean, he's not going to say that with an attorney.
What does the moratorium in place mean for now? But more importantly, what does it mean when it ends?
For now, you can't be sued. You can't be evicted. A landlord can cancel your lease, which, they'll have to deal with in court later. What does it mean when it ends? Well, we don't know the answer to that, right? We don't know what the governor will enact, especially, right now. I think yesterday they announced that if the rate of hospitalizations doesn't stabilize in the next 5 days, they're going to reduce indoor dining to 25%, and they may close it altogether. So we may be going, if the rate doesn't stabilize between now and Monday, let's say, right? We may be going into a complete second lockdown. And so we hope, and I think we're looking at possibly new moratoriums, right? Maybe extensions on the eviction, hopefully extensions on the surrenders of leases without liability on the personal guarantee, and hopefully some sort of rent relief, because as you guys know way better than me, hospitality is getting killed right now, and there's really no relief. There's just delay, and the more you delay, the more the debts rise, and the harder it is to recover later. So, we don't know what it's going to look like yet, but as of right now, if things don't change at all, you're just delaying the inevitable, and at some point the courts will reopen towards you, and the landlords will begin filing eviction proceedings, and you'll have to deal with them then, as opposed to now.
If someone went the route of letting this just string along until they're evicted, if and when you are evicted, what does that mean to you liability-wise?
Most commercial leases in New York City have some sort of personal guarantee or limited guarantee, or what we call a good guy guarantee, right? What you often hear is the good guy, which is a limited guarantee of some sort. And each situation is unique, so there's no general rule. But assuming you have, let's say you have a full personal guarantee, what that means is if you get evicted, you can be sued, especially in Queens. Now we're talking back to this whole thing with the second department. You can be sued personally for the entire length of the lease. Okay, so if that lease is 11 years at $1 a month, you can be sued for that full 11 years at $1 a month. Okay, if you have a good guy guarantee, or what we call a limited guarantee, depending on what the terms of it are, very often that says that, if you give us notice that you're surrendering, 60-day, 90-day, whatever that looks like, and you pay us up until that last day of the 90 days, then you do not have any personal liability, and we cannot sue you for the remainder of the lease. So for those of you that have good guy guarantees, very often it says, okay, look, I notify you today, December 8th, that in 60 days I'm surrendering. I pay you everything I owe you up until that 60 days ends and I leave, and I'm good. The landlord cannot sue you. Many landlords still try to sue, but at least you can show I surrendered, I paid everything to date, I followed the good guy, I was a good guy, and you cannot sue me. In that case, will be dismissed. But it has to be followed very, very much to the document. You have to be very careful about following every single step in that guarantee.
So let's say, here's an example. I've been paying my rent sort of consistently this whole time, but I've got a 6-month security deposit and a 6-month good guy clause. There is no way I'm going to be able to keep paying full rate between now and end of May.
Right.
And even if I did, under the good guy clause, does my to keep that 6-month security deposit?
Landlord keeps the security deposit. In most, it depends what the clause says, of course. Each document is unique. But generally, the landlord keeps the security deposit, and you have to pay on the 6-month good guy and vacate at the end of the 6 months. And every single step of that has to be in writing, documented.
Sure.
If the landlord agrees, it's easier because then you sign a surrender agreement following the good guy and you're done. But many landlords say, oh, I don't care, I'm not accepting, I'm not signing anything. So then you must follow the good guy and document each step. Today I'm, paying you the 6 months. I'm acknowledging you're keeping the security deposit. I'm leaving on this day. And you literally have to document every step. That way, if the landlord decides to sue, you can show up to court and say, look, I triggered my good guy per the lease. I surrendered per the lease. I followed all the steps per the lease. Please dismiss this case, right?
So let's take a very real example of that. All sounds good on paper and we all get it and we all sign that when we've got our leases. But I can't afford rent now, right? I might even be in arrears for a couple of months and the moratorium is keeping me safe, but I can't afford another 6 months of full rent. I just can't. So I'm not going to last until the end of May. I am not going to be able to satisfy the good guy clause. I really need to shut down now, but I'm too afraid to because of what the landlord might do. What is a solution to this problem?
The only solution at this moment is negotiation. Okay. There is another solution. I was going to get to that after, and that, of course, is it's not really a solution. It's an atom. It's a bomb, but it is bankruptcy. Okay. And that's something that we have been doing a lot of lately. We don't really enjoy it, and it's not something we like doing. But in many cases, and for many people with large guarantees and no ability to exit properly, the only option at the end of the day is a bankruptcy. And so that's something that we have been looking at for a lot of clients as well. And I think we're going to see a lot more of it in the next 12 to 16 months. Just right, so you see what's going on out there.
I own 3 different restaurants, 3 different names, 3 different leases in 3 different locations. If I go and declare bankruptcy in the Astoria location, is this going to affect me, my family, and all of my businesses?
So there's different types of bankruptcies. Okay, there's corporate, where you're just filing bankruptcies for the entities and possibly restructuring and wiping a clean slate for the business and rebuilding. And then there's personal, or where you're doing both a corporate and a personal. And that's going to come down to what type of guarantee you've executed. So if you have personal liability on the guarantee and you have personal debts there, you're going to basically file for both or for personal, and it's going to wipe everything clean, and you're going to have to start from the beginning at some level. Yes.
Across all businesses, not just the one.
Yes, unless you're doing a business only and they can't get you personally, right? Which is usually not the case. Yeah, we surrendered a whole lot of leases prior to the expiration. In every scenario, it was best to negotiate with the landlord. It's always a better option to try to come to some sort of understanding, even if you're going down and the ship is sinking. It's usually the least painful process. In every scenario where we could not agree with the landlord and we forced surrendered, the landlord, did not have an agreement and they intend to sue. They're going to sue people. I think we're protected in those cases under the moratorium on the evictions and the surrender period that, with the guarantee. But ultimately, people are going to get sued and will have to defend and show that they shouldn't be sued, which sucks because it costs them legal fees. And a lot of them don't even have the money for that. And so I think, that's where it's headed once the world opens back up, whether that's in January or March or whenever the courts are active again. And we're probably going to see a whole bunch of scenarios where we have to defend people that we surrendered for. I would say most of the ones that we've surrendered will have successful defenses on. I'm not sure they'll all have money by then to pay us to continue doing that, which really stinks because you want to help everybody, but we also can't drown as a business. And so that's where we're at there. Let's say if we don't pay rent now, do we still be charged us any interest for tenants not paying any rent for this moment and penalty? The answer is yes. All of that is going to be tacked on by the landlords if and when everything opens back up. And that's why it's good to negotiate right now. Because you're weak, but in theory, so are they. And this is the time to try to get to some understanding of how you'll both survive this. Because look, some landlords have the money to sit and wait forever, and others do not. Others need that check from the tenant every month to pay their mortgage, to pay their water bill. Not everybody is an old landlord who bought their building in 1980 for, $50,000, right? A lot of people paid top dollar 3 years ago. So it depends who your landlord is. It's a lot easier to negotiate with a landlord that has bills to pay like you do, than it is to negotiate with someone who bought it for nothing and has money to sit and wait you out for the next 2 years, right?
I think what you bring up is a really big point, which is, in Cynthia's case, the landlord's intimidating. He wants his money, and it's very possible that he's in just as bad a situation as she is. And being able to say that, we would like to discuss surrender based on the law, unless, we can negotiate in good faith a way for me to stay and a way for you to continue getting rent. And I think that's a very powerful statement.
That is the number one thing. That is it.
As someone who represents restaurants, do you recommend? So it sounds like you're saying this is the time to negotiate with landlords again. If that's at all.
I think for sure, especially if you're looking to get out, the best option is a negotiation and a surrender. Even it's going to cost you one way or the other. And if you have some means, you should offer those means up. What you're going through is like, I can't even imagine, and it doesn't look like it's about to get any easier. And, look, we'll offer whatever we can to you guys because of Jonathan and the great work he's doing. And we're here. Okay. So just be safe and feel free to reach out. Okay.
Listen, everybody, thank you so much for joining in. Sorry for the topic. Please feel free to email me directly if you have any questions about other areas that we can set up meetings for. We're planning another meeting for this Thursday at 10:30, a roundtable of restaurant owners to talk about what is working for us and what isn't. Maybe we could help each other. And I'll send you a link for that soon. Everybody have a great day. Tasso, feel free to end the meeting, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. That's all. Be safe and good luck. Let me know if you need anything, okay?
Thank you, sir.